welcome. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that one of the most courageous things that we can do is to explore our own consciousness. This practice of mindfulness is not for the faint of heart. Maybe you've discovered this on your own. What was it that William Shatner always said? Space, the final frontier. Well, consciousness is really the final frontier. And sometimes when we find ourselves in stillness, it can be uncomfortable. A lot of old griefs that we may have thought had been resolved sometimes come up. I did a 10-day Vipassana, which is a Buddhist practice of meditation, retreat a few years ago. Actually, it's been 6 years, so it's been a while. And it's a 10-day silent retreat where you are with other practitioners and you don't even make eye contact. You don't talk, you don't interact at all, and no distractions. I mean, you can't exercise, you can't practice yoga. It's very strict. They mean business, these Buddhist practitioners, and they have this down to such a science that they know. They've been doing these retreats for like something like 50 years, maybe a little bit more. Maybe I don't even know, but they have it down to a science so that they know that on day 2 and day 6, a lot of this stuff is going to bubble up. And sometimes people find themselves emotional and really processing old griefs. And I was like, that's not going to happen to me. No way. Well, day 2, tears. Day 6, tears. So I don't know how it works, but there's a technology behind it and they understand it. And so I encourage you to continue with this practice because even though these things bubble up, in tandem with the grief that arises is a deeper joy than we can really ever even know that we were capable of. So that's my little sales pitch for mindfulness. So stay with it. So let's start in a comfortable position. And I'd like to encourage you to move a little more slowly through this practice. If I feel like I'm going a little too fast, slow it down so that you can really feel the sensations of every shape that we make. So the first shape is a hip opener, and if it doesn't work for you, I suggest that you find one that does work. Just be compassionate with yourself, knowing that this practice is requiring courage. So always the option to prop yourself up on a blanket or a block. Always the option to extend your legs. Find a comfortable place for your hands. So I like to have my palms open so that I'm in a receptive shape. And then decide if you prefer your eyes closed or just a soft gaze. Maybe your gaze is down toward your heart. And then right there we begin. We begin to notice sensations in the body. We notice the connection between our body and the surface beneath us. And as you tune into that connection, that support that is there for you, see if you can soften a little and trust that that support will hold you. Begin to notice external stimulation. So there are noises. This is a noisy world. Notice the sounds. See how many different sounds you can discern in your space. And then notice what is in your field of vision. So if your eyes are closed, maybe you notice light filtering through your eyelids. And if your eyes are open, notice what you see. And take a moment to scan your body for tension. Notice where you might be holding it, just finding compassion for those spots. Maybe allowing your attention to linger on those particular areas for just a bit. And letting go of all of that exploration. Allow your belly to soften and invite in a deeper breath. Filling up the belly, filling up the rib cage, and drawing all of that nourishing air up into the lungs, filling up completely. And then releasing the air in any way that feels right for you through the mouth or the nostrils. And just letting go completely, allowing the belly to draw back toward the spine. And begin again. Perhaps now you'll let your lips close and invite the air in through the nostrils, filling up. And letting go. Just continue your rhythm of breath. It might be different from mine. Let it flow in and out, paying attention to each breath. How each breath is just a little different from the one before and the one after. If your attention wanders, allowing it to gently come back to the noticing of the breath. The awareness of this inflow and this outflow. Creating this awareness of a seamless presence. And that seamless presence that is yours alone. Unique to each of us. Let's take 2 more breaths together. And then as you're ready, begin to slowly blink open your eyes. And we'll switch the cross of your legs if your legs are crossed. Yeah. Just take a moment to notice. Are you a little more tapped into your own presence? And when you're ready, take your arms out wide. Inhale, reach up, look up. Let your palms connect with one another and draw them down into your heart center. Let your thumbs rest right at that heart. Let your chin bow to your heart. Perhaps close your eyes one more time and create an intention for this practice. Whatever's on your heart that might be accessible to you right now, let that be your guidepost for this journey as we explore our awareness of ourselves. And when you're ready, inhale, reach up again. Let's bring our palms together and draw them down through the center line of our body, chin to chest. One more inhale, reach up, look up. And exhale, bow. Good. Inhale, shake it out. And then take your hands to the fronts of your knees. Take some gentle hip circles. Just rotating the body in whatever direction feels most intuitive this morning. Going slowly as you start to feel into the lower back and the hips. Keeping the breath smooth and steady. Switch directions now. Excellent. Come up to stillness. Just let all that settle. And take your shoulders up, roll them back, and draw your shoulder blades together. Shoulders come down away from the ears. Take another couple, just letting the shoulders release tension, if there is any. And then on this last pass, just settle in. Take your left fingertips down to the mat and take your right arm, reach up and over for that left ear and just gently guide the right ear toward the right shoulder. And if you feel like you have a little more stretch in you, walk those left fingertips out just a little bit and stretch the left side of your neck. Come back to your breath, slow and smooth, slow and steady. And take one more breath here. And then slowly release. Take the right fingertips out to the right. Wrap that left arm up and around. And draw the left ear to the left shoulder. Finding space in this right side of the neck. Noticing which side is a little more amenable to this stretch. Not judging, just noticing. It's all good. When you're ready, release that, and shake that out. And then take your feet forward, right in front of you. Give your ankles a little massage. And take your hands back behind you somewhere. And just rock your knees from side to side, windshield washing, like windshield wipers. Preparing the hips. Good. Sitting up nice and tall. See if you can draw your knees in a little bit closer and give yourself a hug. Sit up nice and tall. I just said that, sorry. Lift your gaze toward the sky. Stretch the front of your neck. And on your exhale, round forward. Make yourself into a tiny little ball. Good. Let your chin come down to your chest. Stretch the back of your neck. Swallow in your throat. Release it a little bit more. And then sitting up nice and tall. Damn, I said it again. Bring your feet together. We'll come into Baddha Konasana. And we will linger here for a little bit. So find the Baddha Konasana, the cobbler's pose that works for your knees, and always the option to prop yourself as needed, so you feel that support beneath you. And as you're ready, maybe you hold your ankles or your feet. Sit up. I won't say it. Shine your heart. Look up. Take a big breath. And on your exhale, come forward just until you feel that sensation in the lower back and the inner hips, inner thighs, outer hips. Wherever you feel it, may be different. And then as you're ready, just find your edge here. Finding your edge with a nice bright heart. And then once you really, really, really find your edge, so it may take you a few breaths. Just let your chin bow. Let your shoulders round forward. And let everything go here. We come into this pose with intention, and then we surrender to what it has to offer. So notice what that is, that offering is, and see if you can just be with it. You might feel sensation, and that's okay. If you feel any intense pain, that's your signal. We're not going there today. We're just exploring sensation. So come back to your breath. We'll be here for several rounds. So see if you can settle in. Inviting you to stay with what is. Feeling that support of the surface beneath you, the sky above you, your friends who are joining us this morning. Feeling the support of your breath. That steady rhythm of your heart. Slowing down. Maybe you notice, like I do, that your tummy is growling. Just notice. Notice your breath. Deep, nourishing inhalations. And long, slow, relaxing exhalations, taking you deeper. Each inhalation fortifies and gives you courage, and each exhalation allows softening and abiding. Tuning into your own presence, wherever it is today in space and time. 2 more breaths. Stay with it. Nice. On your next exhalation, just take your fingertips to the floor and slowly come up. Walk your way back up, being kind to your lower back. Take a hold of the outer edges of your legs and draw them up back to center. Remove any props that are in the way. And then we'll come up to our hands and knees. So blankets under knees are always really nice. So blanket, towel, whatever you have to give your knees that comfort it needs. Take your hands under your shoulders and come into a tabletop. So let the tops of your feet rest on the floor and just notice that stretch on the tops of the feet if they've been confined in an easy pose. Sometimes this feels really nice. And we're going to inhale as we come into our cow pose. Drop the belly, lift the tailbone. And then exhale as you round into your cat pose, pressing the mat away, drawing the belly into the spine, letting the back of the neck soften. Slow and steady here. Inhale into your cat. And exhale, rounding. Nice. Take a few more, just loosening up, releasing tension in the back, moving with the rhythm of your breath. Each breath synchronized with a movement. Staying with it. Nice. And we'll come back to our neutral position. And I might move back a little bit. I'm going to come into melting heart pose. So we're going to stay in this tabletop. So if your knees are bothering you, maybe add an extra layer of comfort. And then walk your hands forward, keeping your hips over your heels. And we're just going to melt our heart as we are able, coming down toward the floor. So maybe your forehead comes to the floor, or maybe you tuck a block under your forehead. And the stretch is in the upper back, and this can be intense. So notice first, and then modify as needed. Using props is the best way to care for yourself in this practice. So notice immediately where you feel sensation. Again, backing off if there's any pain, shoulder injuries, you can draw your shoulders in, you can wrap your arms around your head. You can take any modifications, maybe one arm comes back if that's a problem. So the stretch is in the upper back and the shoulders. So let's see if we can linger here for just a few breaths. Always the option to come into child's pose anytime during this practice. Or simply come down to your belly and notice your breath. Once you're here, bring your awareness to the back side of the heart as you melt your heart toward the floor. Use your breath to fill up every nook and cranny of the lungs. And then exhale, see if you can melt a little bit more, softening wherever you can. Again, the intensity can be a little too much, so always the option to back off. Let's see if we can stay here for a couple more breaths. Good. On the next inhalation, we're going to slowly make our way up, coming back through table, tucking your hands underneath your shoulders. And one more here for the knees. Bring your legs wide, so the knees are wide. The big toes come to touch. Sink your hips back and come into that delicious child's pose. Lowering your forehead down to the mat. Allowing your arms to extend, or if you've had enough with your shoulders, always an option to bring your arms back behind you, letting them rest on the floor or reach for the outer edges of each foot. Decide where you want to stay in this child's pose. And then once you find this shape, soften into it. Allow yourself to be here, breathing in and breathing out. Staying with the breath as well as you are able, and noticing when thoughts arise. Just attending to each one. Gently bringing your awareness back to your breath. Perhaps your awareness shifts to a sensation in the body. And perhaps you want to offer that sensation the gift of the breath, sending the breath to that area. Remember, each inhalation fortifies and strengthens, nourishes, and each exhalation gives us the permission to soften here, to let go just a little bit more. It's a lot for the hips, so send the breath there if that's where you need it. Let's take 2 more breaths together here. Breathing in. Breathing out. On your next inhalation, we're going to slowly rise, keeping it slow this morning. Take your hands just ahead of where you were in your tabletop. Spread your fingers nice and wide, and then take your toes and tuck them under. And feel that stretch in the foot, in the feet. And then when you're ready, use your strength to lift yourself up slowly, coming into your down dog. So maybe there's still a bend in your knees. Remove your blanket if it's there. And then take your dog for a walk, bending one knee and pressing the opposite heel down toward the floor. And then switching. Good. Like you're moving through water this morning, just keep it slow. Noticing each little nuance of sensation in each movement, fluid movements. And then find stillness. Send those heels back toward the floor. Take your gaze back toward your navel. Navel gazing. Take a big breath in. Start to look forward, come up on your toes, and then take a gentle walk to your front of your mat. Your feet landing right there at about hip width. You can widen them a little bit. And then keep as much of a bend in your knees as you desire. And we'll come into our first forward fold. So ragdoll is nice. Hands at the elbows, head cradled between your arms. Maybe you have a really generous bend of your knees so that your belly comes down toward the tops of your thighs, and you just enjoy the stretch. Maybe you're ready for a little straightening of the knees, so you get a little more sensation in the hamstrings. Find the sensation that you desire this morning, and then see if you can find stillness here. We'll stay a little longer than usual, so if you ever feel dizzy or like you want to come out of it, come out slowly, come to that halfway lift. And then always the option to come back in whenever you're ready. As you inhale, fill up. And as you exhale, see if you can soften somewhere. Let your breath move you to that place of stillness. Knowing that if things do bubble up, you are not alone. We're all here. Good, slow and easy. Let's take 2 more breaths together. As you're ready, release your fingertips to the floor or your blocks if they're not already there, and come up to that slow halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and make that tabletop shape, half tabletop. Hands can come to shins, and notice where your shoulders are in space. Draw them down, back, away from your ears. Draw your belly into your core, so you're really feeling that stability that comes from that strong center. And on your exhale, we're going to fold again. Take your fingertips to blocks or floor and step the left leg back. And here's an option, again, to bring something soft underneath your knee. We are going to lower the knee, lower the top of the left foot, and then bring your hands up to your right quadricep and sink into this stretch here. So, nice stretch. If you've been walking or running, gardening, just about anything. So you'll already notice maybe a little bit of quivering, maybe a little bit of intensity here. See if your balance will allow you to close your eyes. Mine might not today. So decide, see if you can find a gazing point. And just let your face be soft, let your jaw be soft. As you gently find your edge here, so maybe leaning forward a little bit more will give you a little more of the stretch you enjoy this morning. Just let it be what you need. And getting really still and quiet allows us to be a lot more attentive to our bodies. Good. We'll be here for a few more breaths. See if you can be here. Nice. Really good stretch here. Take one more big breath. Let's let our exhale take our hands down to the mat. Fingertips come to the mat. Slowly come up. And we'll take that right leg and sort of wiggle our heel until it comes forward. And this is a nice place for blocks. If you have your blocks, you can take one on each side of this leg at any height that works for you. So higher. What is it? Hotel, motel, no, hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. So decide which height you like. Lift and spread your toes on your right foot. And then we're just going to slowly lower toward that right knee, coming only as forward as we are ready, using the strength of our arms to support ourselves as we explore the stretch in this right hamstring. So it's a slow, steady descent as we respect the stretch in that muscle in that right hamstring. So just honoring where it is today, not taking it farther than we know we are ready. Just using the breath to tune in, to stay there, to linger. Creating space for awareness. Again, if you start to doubt your capabilities here to stretch, swallow in your throat, relax somewhere. Notice how that affects the rest of your system, this interrelated system that we are a part of. Let's be here for 2 more breaths. We've got this. Good. And on your exhalation, slowly press yourself up. Let's take the right foot back. We'll come into tabletop for just a moment. Knees on the floor. Dip your belly. Come into a cat-cow. Couple of times. Just release the back. And then as you're ready, tuck your toes, lift your hips, come into your downward facing dog. Good. As you're ready, we are going to just step that left foot forward, lower the right knee. So unceremoniously coming into our other side, our Anjaneyasana. Hands can come to this left thigh. And then again, shining your heart to start. Leaning forward as you are able, so you can get the stretch in your right hip flexor. Maybe closing your eyes, tuning in here. Closing your eyes makes you wobbly. Just keep a little soft gaze, soft face. Shiny heart. Good. Coming back to the awareness of your breath as you explore sensation on this side. Slow, easy breath. Feeling the support beneath you, above you, around you, and inside of you. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Really tuning in, just noticing. No judgment, just noticing what we notice. If you notice wobbling, it's okay. We're all unsteady at times. If you notice you have more space for a stretch, yeah, it's a good day. On this next exhalation, hands come down to floor or blocks. And come back up enough to take that left heel forward, maybe wiggle it side to side until you find your stretch. And then shiny heart, descend toward that knee and find your stretch in that left hamstring. So it might be different than the right. Hey, if you've got it in you, I'm going to offer this modification. Maybe you were once a cheerleader. I never was. I was a pom-pom. You can tuck your block underneath your left leg and come into more of a split. I know it's a lot. But always options, right? Only come forward as much as you are ready. Don't overstretch that left hamstring. It's only tune into it so you can really discern what that hamstring needs this morning. We'll be here for a few more breaths. See if you can linger, settle in. Excellent. Breath in. Breath out. Nice. To come out of this, we're going to come out super slowly, especially if you decided to try this little block option that I offered. Remove your block. Take your left leg back to meet your right. We'll let our hands come down into table. Take a couple of those cat-cows. Just release the back. Nice. And then we're going to come down to our mats. Taking your blanket, making yourself Now mine has gotten all disheveled here. So straighten yours out if yours is as messy as mine, and make yourself a little perch. We're going to come back to seated, and this time sit so you are on your mat so that you can come into a wide leg shape here with your legs extended wide. Lift your heart. We're going to stretch our inner thighs here if you haven't already suspected. So come forward with a gentle approach and a shiny heart. Let your hands reach the floor, and then decide how far forward you want to come. But think about flexing your feet, spreading your toes, engaging those legs so that you have that reciprocal muscular support here. And then once you find your edge, simply bow forward. Maybe your hands, make a little pillow for yourself and come into that thinker pose. But don't think, let your mind stay on your breath and your sensation. There's plenty of time in the day to think about all those things. So let yourself stay here. We only have a few more minutes together, so let's just be present. Let your awareness stay on your breath and your sensation. Maybe your chin bows down to your chest. And you take these next few breaths and really sink into your own presence. Letting your breath be full and complete. Nice full exhalation. Let your next inhalation bring you back up. Slowly walking your hands up, taking a hold of the outsides of your legs and gently drawing yourself in. And we'll bring ourselves to the floor. Allow yourself to slowly descend down, just one vertebra at a time, exploring not only your core, but your lower back as you lower down. Slowly, slowly, one pearl on that strand at a time until your head, neck, and shoulders are completely on the floor. And then bring your heels up to your hips. Tuck your shoulders underneath you and then hug your knees into your chest. Take some circles with those knees, drawing circles on the ceiling. Massage out that lower spine. And switch directions. Good. And hug the knees in one more time. Take your left hand to the outside of your right leg and just gently lower them over to the left side. Take your right arm out, extend it out to a T, and take your gaze over toward the right, giving yourself a final twist. Breathe in and breathe out. Noticing sensation. We're getting good at noticing where we might be holding on, so allow your exhalation to let you melt into this shape. Why do we hold on so tightly? We are supported. Let go. Take one more full breath, enjoying this last exhalation, this last opportunity to release tension on this side. And then slowly draw your knees back into center. Maybe rock from side to side. Just lingering where it feels pleasant. And then offering yourself the opportunity, that same opportunity on the other side. Just dropping your knees over. Opening up that left arm to a T and taking your gaze in that left direction. Taking a moment to breathe here and soften. We're going deep today, friends. Exploring, noticing, really loving ourselves. Good. Take one more breath here. And you know what to do. Bring your knees back to center and take any last shapes that might feel good. So that could be legs up. If you'd like to take your legs up a wall for Shavasana, scooch over to a wall and assume that position. If you'd like to take a happy baby or a shoulder stand, feel free now. And then once you have explored your final shapes, let yourself come into a Shavasana like no other. Let your legs come wide on your mat. Let your feet just come out to the sides. Take any props that would feel good and use them to your best advantage. Tucking those shoulders beneath you, letting your palms rest face up, extended out from your shoulders. Take a moment to feel that support. Support from beneath. Support from above. Support on all sides. And then let go. I'll leave you with this blessing for absence from John O'Donohue. May you know that absence is full of tender presence, and that nothing is ever lost or forgotten. May the absences in your life be full of eternal echo. May you sense around you the secret elsewhere which holds the presences that have left your life. May you be generous in your embrace of loss. May the sore of your grief turn into a well of seamless presence. May your compassion reach out to the ones we never hear from. And may you have the courage to speak out for the excluded ones. May you become the gracious and passionate subject of your own life. May you not disrespect your mystery through brittle words or false belonging. May you be embraced by God, in whom dawn and twilight are one, and may your longing inhabit its deepest dreams within the shelter of the great belonging. Slowly begin to deepen the breath. Bring small movements to fingers and toes. And feeling free to linger here as long as you like. Make the decision. And then if you decide to come on up to a comfortable seat, roll to one side and use the strength of your arms to draw yourself up. And pause in your sukhasana, your easy pose, just noticing. Noticing your own presence. Noticing the breath and the beat of your heart. Allowing your eyes to close. And take your arms out. Reach up as though you're reaching up for all the goodness. Take your palms together, draw them down through the center of the body and bow. Bow your chin to your own heart. Taking a moment for gratitude for this presence, for this day, this life, and all the support that is out there, beneath us, above us, around us. In the presence of that great belonging, I wish you namaste. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for practicing.